Hello, everyone. I'm Joan Adrian Tabalanza, taking up Masters in English Language Education. And it's an honor to be part of this webinar series celebrating LGBTQ month. And I would like to thank Dr. Palsis for choosing me to speak today. Now, you're probably wondering, wait, is he gay? No, I'm not. I'm a butterfly. And I've been a butterfly since the time I remember playing with paper dolls instead of toy guns. Since I was young, I have already known that I'm not a typical male species. My heart would beat for boys and handsome men, not for girls. In other words, my family and neighbors already knew from the start that I had the making of a beauty queen or a mermaid. In 2012, I decided to pursue a path in teaching after being a call center agent for 3 toxic years. I thought I had to embody a respectable and dignified figure like Mother Teresa. I was thinking that if I continue to just being me, rowdy, tactless, and sometimes foul mouthed, but honest and of course gay, the whole teaching industry would hunt me down, burn me at the stake, or throw me off a building. I was afraid of people judging me for my sexuality. In my early years in the profession, I was not fond of coming out stories. In my mind, there was no need to tell the world if you're gay, lesbian, or transgender, because people should have already accepted the gender spectrum. And if they didn't, it could be that they're ignorant, stupid, or bigoted. My reasoning was, why would I change myself just so the benighted can feel okay? Shouldn't this unenlightened crowd be the ones to change? Obviously, my ego was running the show, and this ego prevented me from truly understanding what it meant to be gay. I was also afflicted with my own misconception. This misconception seems to have never left me. My teaching experience was not a paid one. I was a volunteer teacher in a Buddhist monastery in San Juan City. It's actually one of the most meaningful experiences I had as a teacher because I got to apply the pedagogical principles and also assess myself if I was doing a competent job or not. In the monastery, I was teaching very young kids, aged 4 to 10 years old. Even though challenging, the job was fulfilling overall because of the kids' reactions. They would tell me without inhibitions if they're happy, sad, or mad. And at that time, I wish I could be like them, just open and not pretending. Even though there was no explicit rule not to behave like gays, the atmosphere didn't really encourage this type of behavior. For 2 years, I wasn't able to hear anybody crack gay jokes or even discuss sexuality openly with the Buddhist nuns. It's as if it's a taboo subject. But make no mistake, the place was conducive to introspection and meditative practices. But as a gay teacher, I had to adapt to the soberness of the environment. Being flexible has its advantages, but sometimes I felt that I was losing my creativity and hence my identity. From 2012 to 2014, I was an academic consultant at one of the pioneering review centers along Katipunan Avenue in Quezon City. There, I mastered the ins and outs of standardized testing, including UCAT, ASIT, SAT, IELTS, and what have you. It was one of my most productive episodes as an English teacher because I could see how language theories and principles were applied to solve problems of students wanting to pass their exams. Despite the beauty of the job, I felt that something was terribly missing. I couldn't fully express myself. I would carefully choose my words and roughen up my speaking style. I told myself, be careful with your diction and tone, Adrian. You have to sound and act like a man, or they will find out who you truly are. Believe it or not, I was the great Mr. Pretender. I would go to the office wearing skin tight slacks and polo shirt, unbuttoned on top, like Johnny Bravo. I was showing off my muscles to emit a signal that I was not a cheeky butterfly. I didn't want my students to look down on me because I was gay. I didn't want my co-educators to ridicule me because I was gay. I didn't want to accept the fact that I myself was rejecting my being gay. After my stint as a consultant, I was offered a part time instructor position in a university in Manila. Of course, I was excited because it's my first time teaching students at tertiary level on a consistent basis. I handled students with majors in engineering, finance, and dentistry. But before fully embarking on my new job, I was conflicted. Should I continue to pretend that I am not gay? Or should I just tell them right from the start so that I can rid myself of office gossip? I was trying to weigh the possibilities. On one hand, I wanted to continue in that line of work, a university instructor. So I must not take any drastic measure that will cause them to dislike me. On the other hand, I wanted to be as productive and innovative as possible. But I thought I could only do that if I didn't inhibit myself whatsoever. Myself includes my sexuality. The struggle continues to haunt me every time I would face my students and attend a department meeting. For example, instead of using my natural perky voice, I would modulate it so that my students wouldn't catch any tone of gayness. But of course, students are smarter than they would have you believe. Another example was when my department head would ask for my suggestions to improve the scores of students in their exams. Now, instead of just rambling on and just like do what I would usually do with my friends, I would couch my response to only 5 sentences. The less words I say, the less hint to my true colors. It was certainly not fun hiding behind a facade of masculinity. It was indeed a crisis. This identity or sexuality crisis even traveled across many seas. When I worked as a language trainer in Abu Dhabi from 2017 to 2019, I was teaching Korean engineers working in the first nuclear power plant of United Arab Emirates. As you may know, Koreans are not known particularly for their impeccable English, but their spicy Korean barbecue, kimchi, Gangnam Style, and BTS. So to help them with their communication with the Emiratis and other foreign colleagues, they hired English teachers, mostly Filipinos in the UAE. I was proud of the work I did with them, helping them prepare for IELTS and TOEIC, improving their conversational English, and building solid friendship. However, the butterfly in me had to stay in the closet because I knew that Korean culture was not yet open to LGBT. Whereas the UAE, being a Muslim country, still follows the Sharia law. Had I explicitly strutted my stuff like a Miss Universe contestant on the street, the locals would have cast stones on me, had me arrested, and jailed me for 14 years, or killed me instantly. I couldn't be gay in thought and action. So every time I and my students would go outside to drink and unwind, I'd pretend to be one of them, talk rough like them, brag about how many women I dated. But of course, none of which was true. But pretending to have the biggest genital in the room was a pragmatic tool to survive in that culture. When I came back here in the Philippines in 2019, it was a big relief, even though I know that there are still countless judgmental lunatics in the midst of us. Our treatment of LGBTQIA plus members is relatively more progressive than that in the UAE or Arab countries. I haven't heard any lesbian math teacher being fired or a queer subject head being castigated or a bisexual principal being demoted for simply being who they are. Selling casinos or kakanin, I heard yes, 100%, but not the other one. In that sense, I feel lucky to be here. After several months, I resumed teaching as an online ESL instructor. This time around, I'm happy to tell you that I feel more open to my Burmese students because they've seen me deliver speeches in the most colorful and authentic way possible. I don't have to pretend or put on a mask pretending like I'm a man. I could just be me, happy, gay, and crazy. It makes a world of difference. I feel like coming out of my cocoon and ready to take on the world. At the age of 35, I realized that it truly takes some experience to weed out the nonsense from the essentials. Sometimes you have to learn not to give a fudge about others' judgment of you as long as you're at peace with yourself and doing a competent job as an educator. As a teacher, I'm not here to please everybody. I'm here to make a difference. Whether I'm gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, queer, questioning, intersex, or an ally. So, to all of you who are listening today, I hope you will accept whoever you are, whether you're part of the LGBT members or community or not. There will always be people judging you, but what matters most is how you judge yourself. Thank you very much.